Producer Michael, is the watch market crashing? Let's go.
I'm back with Seth at 90210 Watches, and we are going to discuss this crazy watch market because I think it's kind of collapsed. But let's get a professional's view. Seth, how are you, my friend?
What's up, Michael?
Good to see you. See, I'm playing shopkeeper as well. I'm behind the watches.
You look good behind the counter.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, this is the closest I've been to watches in a while. Tell us, what is going on? Watches have crashed, right?
So right now, there's a dip. That's all it is. It's a blip, it's a dip.
It's a big dip though, right?
It's not a big dip.
It's not a big dip.
It depends on what models we're talking about. That's the honest truth. If you're talking about, let's say, the core stainless steel Submariners, okay, so they're down 10%. If we're talking about some of the higher end APs that, let's say, 2 years ago were 35,000 and then 2 months ago they were 100,000, yeah, those are pulling back 20-30% at the most.
That's a big dip.
Okay, that's a big dip.
Let's put it this way. If you'd bought one of these watches at $100,000 and today it's worth $60,000, you'd be pretty upset.
Yeah. So we pulled out some nice pieces. I want to show you some examples of some things that have really taken
Also zum Beispiel, welche Preise auf jeden Fall krass runtergegangen sind. 5712 Stahl, wird ja auch nach wie vor so gebaut. Aquanaut, alle überteuerten Aquanaut-Modelle, sagen wir mal Goldmodelle, Chronographen sind auf jeden Fall groß runtergegangen. Hatte ich auch ewig nicht mehr gehabt, 5712 auch ewig nicht mehr. Grüne Daytona habe ich, glaube ich, die letzte verkauft für 80.000 Euro oder 75.000 Euro. Den Preis hat sie nach wie vor nicht erreicht. Also von daher, ich habe mich von diesen Modellen immer ferngehalten. 5980 habe ich mich auch nicht. Die zum Beispiel Kasparov-Modelle, die beiden, mit denen ist nichts passiert. Hier haben wir Offshore Barrichello, habe ich jetzt nicht im Plan, aber wir gucken mal rein, was so weitergeht.
A pullback.
Okay.
So for example, let's go with this one first. The John Mayer Yellow Gold Daytona Green Dial.
Und sag mal lieber, was hältst du von der Grand Casio Oak, also Casio mit Oak Armband? Bekommst du die auch bald in den Shop und welche Uhr soll ich zum Listenpreis nehmen? Speedy, Datejust, Mint und wieso? LG und Danke. Also zum Listenpreis kauf die Uhr, die dir am liebsten gefällt. Also das ist alles eine Geschmackssache. Grand Casio Oak. Also wenn es die auf der Webseite von Casio gibt, werden wir die mit Sicherheit zeitnah anbieten.
John Mayer's official name?
No.
Or is that a nickname given to it?
That's a nickname. At its peak about 2-3 months ago, these were 140, 150.
Wow.
And now they've pulled back to about 120.
And the list on this was what?
The list is close to 40.
Oh, so there's still an incredible overage on the MSRP.
Oh yeah, a year ago this was 80,000. So at the end of the day, that's what we really should be discussing is that, yeah, sure, there's a pullback on these watches, but if you look at the numbers based upon where they were a year ago and then 2 years ago,
they're still way up. But you'd be upset if you were one of the unfortunate ones that paid the extra 20-30%, right?
Right.
So what do you predict is going to actually happen? What will happen to this watch? Will it maintain? Will it go down? Where's your thoughts and why?
Before we...
Also fragt ja jetzt gerade, was die Sache ist, wie wird sich das verhalten. Die Taktik, die wir oder ich immer jedem sagen, wenn ihr mich nach Uhren fragt, empfehle ich eigentlich in den meisten Fällen Modelle, die eingestellt sind. Ne? Und es bewahrheitet sich. Also die Sachen, die wir im Portfolio-Management angeboten haben, die haben sich krank entwickelt. Wir haben hier Modelle teilweise, also ich weiß nicht, ob die Leute darüber gesprochen haben, denen ich das verkauft habe, aber wir haben hier zum Beispiel, hier hatten wir 2 Modelle, die habe ich, also Sodali zum Beispiel hat sich nichts dran getan, aber es geht mir um Daytona Beach hat auch nichts getan, genau, 180.000 Euro, ich hatte die zweimal, geisteskranke Uhr. Das hier war die Uhr, habe ich zweimal verkauft, kompletten Set, und diese Uhr ist zwar jetzt mit einem anderen Zifferblatt, kann man drüber streiten. Natürlich Pavé-Diamanten werden mit Sicherheit vielleicht 20.000 Euro teurer sein. Aber die Uhr hat sich seit März dann doch etwas positiver entwickelt. Ne? Und sonst gibt es keine mit blauen Steinen. Blaue Steine, das ist eine. Von mir aus weil Auktionsergebnis war, glaube ich, 2,25. Also die wurde in der Auktion für 2,25 und 2,30 versteigert. Aber sowas bleibt halt wertstabil. Dann, was hat man noch, was wertstabil ist? Selbst bei Patek ist das so, was wir verkauft haben. 37,10. Auch schon lange aus dem Programm raus. Ist auch stabil geblieben. Alles kommt immer darauf an, was man halt kauft. Ne? Und natürlich, wenn man jetzt bei einer Daytona mit grünem Blatt oben eingestiegen ist, wird es halt schwierig. Aber selbst wenn wir die Uhren mal durchgehen, die wir jetzt auf unserer Webseite haben, nur die erste Seite. Also, die hier ist absolut geisteskrank, gibt es aktuell keine auf der Welt, sehr seltenes Modell mit einer glatten Lünette, das allererste Mal Saphirglas verbaut, mit Boxpapieren und Pinball-Dial, die wird nicht runtergehen. Hier gibt es ein paar Startmodelle, Millenary auch. So, dass ich sowas verkaufe, unglaublich. So, hier bei solchen Kleinigkeiten wie Triple Date, da müssen wir nicht drüber sprechen, was sollte da schief gehen. Day Date wird jetzt auch nicht mehr großartig was passieren. Ich weiß, was die Liste kostet. Liste kostet die, ich glaube, 36.000, 37.000 Euro. Dann Batman würde ich auch nicht sagen. Und bei so einer verklebten Uhr Full-Stickered Yachtmaster. Also da ist es so, einfach kaufen, weglegen und 3-4 Jahre vergessen und dann wird man da schon positiv aus der Sache rauskommen. Und alles andere hier, Datejust 36 mm, also da gibt es einfach keine Alternative zu. Also man kann nichts Besseres in der Preiskasse kaufen. Also sonst haben wir tatsächlich keine wirklichen Hype-Produkte, wo man sagen muss, oh, zum Beispiel auch hier 16610, absolutes Must-Have in der Preisregion um die 13.000 Euro. Da natürlich olivgrüne Daydate. Da muss man vorsichtig sein. Ob der Preis nochmal, er hat sich stabilisiert, wir sind der günstigste Anbieter in Europa, aber man muss vorsichtig sein. Also die ist jetzt stabil geblieben für, glaube ich, 3 Wochen. Ich habe auch in den Händlergruppen nichts Gegenteiliges mehr gesehen, aber bei der Uhr zum Beispiel ist Vorsicht geboten. Kann man kaufen, kann man alles kaufen. Preisklasse unter 100.000 Euro, auch als Anlage, diese Uhr hier in dem Sonderformat, absolut legendäre Uhr, wirklich. Wenn jemand eine Uhr sucht, also ich weiß nicht, was ich dazu noch sagen soll, diese Uhr ist einfach, die erinnert mich immer an die Zeit, wo ich neu im Uhrengeschäft war, das war so Grail, derjenige, der damit rumgelaufen ist, einfach King. Das ist einfach Tourbillon Chronograph von Audemars Piguet, das ist die günstigste Uhr aus der gesamten Kollektion. Gucken wir mal, wo wir uns angesiedelt haben. Guck mal her. Die Uhr, die wir anbieten, hat einfach einen Service gehabt. Letztes Jahr ist noch in der Garantie. Brandneuer Zustand. So, mit Boxpapieren die erste 96 ohne Stahlband. Hat aber die richtige Box mit dabei, muss man ihr lassen. Ohne Stahlband. Trotzdem 5.000 Euro weniger. Ich sag's euch, das ist eine sehr, sehr spannende Uhr. Sehr spannende Uhr. Hat deiner Meinung nach der Datejust Wimbledon einen gerechten Hype? Also ist jetzt nicht so, ist halt ein bisschen teurer, ne? Aber ob es jetzt ein Hype ist,
we discuss that. Technically speaking, what we should discuss is what's the actual realistic situation if you are a consumer, a private party, compared to a dealer.
I like that.
Okay, so let's say you're a collector. Let's call it a collector, and you were fortunate enough to buy this watch from your authorized dealer at retail, and you now think that you've got yourself a $140,000 watch in your hand and you want to liquidate that watch.
But then you're not a true collector.
Well,
then you're a dealer.
Well, you're a flipper.
A flipper,
you're
right?
A flipper,
you're a flipper.
Or you play with watches.
Right.
So that's what a lot of my customers are basically. They play with watches. So they know guys in the gray market, they know dealers, but at the same time, they network with authorized dealers and do their best to work the games that you have to play with these authorized dealers to try to get watches. You know, after working at authorized dealer and begging, and the watch finally came in, and you were fortunate enough to get this watch. What do you do with it now? How do you sell this watch? How would you sell it?
Well, I wouldn't, because the problem is they have serial numbers, right? And if your authorized dealer ever found out that you had sold that watch, you'd be blacklisted. So you never get any more.
Well, that's a good point. So
right. So I don't buy them to flip them. I buy them because I enjoy them.
Well, I know you
but
don't.
I don't enjoy them anymore. I'm scared to freaking wear them.
But
that's besides the point.
You don't buy them to flip them. But I'm just saying, there are guys that they feel like their payday came in. They got the watch for 40 grand plus tax. And now they think they've got themselves $100,000 profit built in.
Right.
So sieht's aus.
As of today, if you go and try to sell this watch to a dealer, it's not going to be so easy to find a dealer that's actually going to want to write a check for more than $90,000 for this watch.
Which is still a good profit.
That's still a good profit, but it's not $140,000.
But even that dealer today will be questioning, would this be worth 80 next week, because the way they're falling, right?
Right. What I feel is going on in the market right now is the amount of people that have confidence in the market that are speculators is dwindling.
What do you think the reason for this is? Why are these watches going down? Because they were overinflated in the first?
and you don't have people desperate to buy right now. So the market's a little flat. That's why a lot of dealers complain there's really not a lot of action right now.
So let's go through some of these watches. Let's talk about their value.
So this is a Royal Oak. So years ago.
Sehr, sehr seltenes Ziffernblatt. Man sagt bei diesem Ziffernblatt, dass circa so 800 Stück gemacht wurden, hat die Endung, also von dieser Kasparov 2,5 bla bla und am Ende kommt die 0,5. Sehr seltenes Ziffernblatt. Gute Uhr, tolle Uhr, liebe ich.
Ago, this thing, let's say 3 years ago, this was a dog, this brown dial Royal Oak.
Ooh, that's painful to someone that owns one.
Yeah, but this was
Der Zustand ist natürlich, muss man mal machen, ne? Sieht ein bisschen, aber gute Uhr, sehr gute Uhr.
a dog and then became very collectible, this brown dial. So this went from being something that was trading in the $20,000 range, and then all of a sudden shot up into around, I've seen them around $60,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's crazy.
So I need
Würde ich zum Beispiel jetzt auch immer empfehlen, nach wie vor.
50 for this. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's it's totally scuffed up. It's unpolished.
Incredible.
And that's 50,000.
That's really incredible. Okay, what
But-
about this?
Selbst in diesem Zustand noch was wert. Also der Zustand ist völlig in Ordnung, ne? Also das muss man halt einmal machen, aber das sind ja Gebrauchsgegenstände und es ist jetzt nicht so, dass man das gibt man einmal zu jemandem, der sich der Uhren aufarbeitet, jemand Gutes, dann ist die danach wieder wie neu. Also da würde ich, alles gut.
This guy.
Okay, so believe it, this is a very
Salmon
expensive
dial.
watch. This is a very rare white gold 39mm with this.
Weißgold wurden nur ganz wenig Stückzahlen gemacht und die wird nochmal einen guten 20 mehr kosten, 20.000, 30.000 Euro mehr kosten.
Salmon dial.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you can see.
Oh, yeah,
these,
you can feel immediately.
You can see these posted on the internet for $200,000. I remember 10 years ago.
200, krass. Wir hatten mal ein paar immer da, so 2019, da haben wir die verkauft für auch so 20.000. Krank, oder? Krank.
This was a $40,000 watch.
Incredible. And how much are you asking for it? What is it worth today?
So we need for this, I think I need 170.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, it
Sehr
is
krasse
crazy.
Uhr.
But
Sehr
that's
nice
what if
Uhr.
you want this watch, that's what you got to pay for it.
And then this guy?
kleine Stückzahlen.
15500 OR on a strap.
Is this 41 millimeter? Or
This is the
39?
big one. This is the 41. These are fetching, or these are not fetching. I should say these are asking price is in the 80s to low 90s right now. If you can buy one for retail, you're going to save yourself almost $30,000.
Amazing.
By the way, where's your watch?
I don't. All my watches are in the bank. They're all in the bank. Beverly Hills has become a crazy place. No earring,
Besser.
no watch,
Besser.
no valuables.
That's true, no earring either.
Nothing. I mean, it's just.
Wow, this watch is about $20,000, 35mm AP. So this is about the most
Ladies, right?
It's a mid-size. I'm actually wearing one too.
That's why he's saying not a ladies. Cause
Yeah,
I
it's a
noticed-
lady's watch.
Fits my wrist perfectly.
Do you know, I did notice you wearing that earlier.
It
I
actually
love
looks
how
good on you.
slim they are.
For
yeah.
me,
Yeah, it does look
yeah, I
good
wear
on
a
you.
6 3/4 inch.
But a
wrist
lot of
right
ladies would wear that watch, right?
now. A very cool woman would rock
There
this
you go.
watch.
There you go.
Grand Prix, rose gold AP
Let's go back to
offshore.
this. How much are these now?
Oh, this is 20,000.
20.000, Alter. Da kann ich nur für all diejenigen beten, die ein kleines Handgelenk haben. Das, meine lieben Leute, wäre die Uhr.
Let's say 5 years ago, honestly, this would have been 5-6 grand.
Really?
Unity,
Yeah.
danke dir
Yeah.
für die 330
Yeah,
Leute,
this is
die
quite a
rübergekommen
big
sind.
run-up.
Herzlich willkommen.
Grand Prix offshore. So these,
Ich hoffe, ihr habt Geld mitgebracht.
let's say going back, I don't know, 7-8 years ago, they were $55,000.
Right.
Guess how much they've appreciated to now?
80.
$55,000.
Hasn't moved.
They haven't moved.
Why is that?
Offshores
Just
are,
never that popular in
well,
this
because
configuration.
everybody
right?
went to this whole thin Royal Oak.
Nice watch
These
though.
big fat offshores are not what people are after right now.
So a
that's the trend.
42 brick, the 42 millimeter
Yeah,
brick,
yeah.
they're quite expensive now, right? They're
Yeah.
like 90 to 100,000.
Yeah, in rose. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
and-
in yellow, they're even higher.
And they were, is that right?
Yeah,
Wow, and those were, what, 50?
50, 55, 60,000.
Alles nur eine Geschmackssache. Ich sage euch ich hatte, glaube ich, im März die kühne Behauptung aufgestellt, dass bei den Offshore-Modellen, dass da sich noch einiges tut. Und man kann ja nichts von der Hand weisen, dass die normalen Royal Oak-Modelle sich ein bisschen beruhigt haben. Was ist passiert? Bei der Offshore nix. Und hier die limitierten Sachen, also da kommt man noch wirklich günstig in den Markt rein. Hier zum Beispiel Las Vegas, Alinghi voll Carbon. Das sind schon coole Uhren. Die hatte ich letztens in der Story, muss ich sagen, nach wie vor tolle Uhr. Und spezieller Case-Umfang auch und so. Echt eine coole Nummer. Also als limitierte Uhr quasi in einem Neuzustand schon nicht uninteressant.
What Manny wears, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is just unpopular.
It's not it's not the trend. Everybody wants the Royal Oaks, the thinner ones,
Right.
these.
And
all
it
of
used to
these.
be they wanted the bigger
And
ones.
War die 1, 2, 6, 3, 3, 4 Perlmutt nicht verkauft? Nee, irgendwie die Leute wollen immer ein normales Ziffernblatt. Ich finde die MOP da ist die schönste, aber ist nicht beliebt.
Only used to want the offshores and nobody wanted these.
Isn't that strange? And you think it'll flip again?
That's the trend. I mean, who knows? I remember even us discussing watches like going back 10 years ago. We were thinking, will it ever be cool to wear a small, thin watch?
Right.
There it is.
And,
Also ihr müsst euch diese Frage stellen, auch mit diesen Offshore-Modellen. Ne? Es gab eine Zeit, so 2011, 12 und so weiter, da waren diese Offshore-Modelle, das war das Ding. Jeder wollte eine dicke, fette, goldene Uhr tragen oder auch Stahluhr. Ne? Daher kommen ja diese Modelle. Und dann hat sich der Trend gewendet, ähnlich wie in der Mode. Das ist natürlich die Frage, wo geht die Zukunft hin?
Answer is
Yeah.
no.
Well, Rolex are marketing the 36mm presidents again. Yeah, they've got some pretty dials in them.
Really?
And yeah, because they had the 41 and then they decided that was too big and they went to the 40, which really made not a lot of sense, right? 1mm difference.
It wears better, but yeah.
And now they've got a new line of 36s. So I don't know, maybe they're trying to bring it back. Who knows? Who knows?
Nautilus 5712. This used to be a $60,000 watch, jumped into the 80s. I thought that was crazy. These are on Chrono 24 for $200,000 right
Steel.
now.
Steel.
In stainless steel.
Ja.
Makes
The-
no sense.
the-
Makes absolutely no
The
sense.
5711 in the blue dial is around 170, so that's why this is a little bit more. It's got power reserve moon phase and the date.
It's shocking.
So-
This is a watch that I never understood how it could be where it is today value-wise.
Yeah, and you probably don't even know what you're looking at.
It's an Equinaut of sorts, right?
Right, but you know, this is gold. This is white
I
gold.
didn't know that.
All right,
I didn't know that.
It's called the 5168. They made this originally with the blue dial, then they came out with the khaki green. So this watch is retail, I think it's in the 60s. If you want to buy this watch right now, it's still going to cost you $150 to $170.
For a watch that really doesn't do anything other than tell you the time and give you the date.
It doesn't make any logical sense.
And it's not
Ich
particularly
mag die
attractive, is
Aquanaut.
it?
Aquanaut
Do you like
ist
that,
schon
Adam?
eine tolle Uhr.
No, I'm not really a fan. No.
And the steel version of this is also crazily priced
Yeah,
right
the steel version I think is in around $80,000.
now. And how much is it list?
Less than 30, or right around 30.
Don't understand it. It's the
Yeah.
hype. It's social
So,
media. That
Would you
stuff.
say that Patek is a good brand to be in right now?
In Aquanauts and Nautiluses, yes.
Yeah.
But all the other ones, not so
Yeah.
much.
But here's the point. The point is, okay, so we think the market is crashing. Still, go try to buy this watch for less than $150,000, $160,000.
So what was
You're
it
not
at it-
really going to be able to find it.
What was it at its peak?
I think that people are asking almost 190, 200 at its peak.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it looks like a
Incredible.
Swatch watch, doesn't it? Really? I mean,
Video where we got to look at like trainers that were crazy. The Nike swoosh had been printed the wrong way around, and it was worth 200 grand.
Right, right.
Same type of thing. People like Supreme did these collaborations, and then things got more expensive. I genuinely think it was just that. Obviously, everybody knows.
but
the
it's not
speed-
limited. That's the thing.
Exactly, and that's why it makes no sense.
If it was limited, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Right. But this is something that today you can go online and order.
Yeah.
Right, for $450.
Well, I don't know if you still can, but you will be able to.
Or that.
It's not a limited run watch, and that's what
Omega
Amiga
Moon
actually,
Swatch
or not
irgendwie.
Amiga, Swatch actually kept.
Was haben wir hier?
This watch is trading close to double list. So if you want this watch, it's again between 150 and 170, this rose gold
Habe
Yachtmaster.
ich einmal verkauft für 120.000 Euro an den Kunden, von dem ich eben erzählt habe, hat er seiner Frau geschenkt. Einmal verkauft für 120.
Unbelievable. And what was this at its peak?
At its peak, it's again close to 200.
Really? Mm-hmm. So the trend is basically they're falling. Some of them more than others. But you think it will stabilize?
I do think it'll stabilize, especially if somehow, God willing, this war can end.
No, please.
I think we're going to see a big bounce and a recovery in this watch market.
Ja, mit Nico habe ich auch drüber gesprochen. Nico meinte auch, wenn der Krieg und sich diese Situation beruhigt, dann wird es schon einen riesen Nachholkonsum auftun. Wir werden sehen, wir werden sehen.
Okay.
That and the economy, starts to revamp.
Not to mention, China is shut down right now with COVID.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
So that is also affecting the market as well.
I know, it's crazy. Well, I know everybody always likes to see if you've got any, I don't want to call them freebies, bargains.
Deals.
Do you have any deals, sir?
Man weiß aber nicht, was nach dem Krieg passieren wird. Wenn es etwas Neues gibt, wird es andauern, meiner Meinung nach. Klar, also ich sag mal so, aktuell kommt jeden Tag gefühlt was Neues. Ne? Das Gute ist, der Mensch neigt dazu, ich weiß nicht, ob ihr das gemerkt hattet, wir hatten so eine Situation Anfang 2020 auch, als ich mich selbstständig gemacht habe. Könnt ihr euch noch daran erinnern, wie das war zu der damaligen Zeit? Also ich weiß es ganz genau. Und zwar, Corona kam und man wusste nicht, werden die Leute überhaupt, also da konnte man ja nicht zur Arbeit gehen, Kurzarbeit und so, ne? Und da weiß ich noch ganz gut, was für Gedanken ich hatte und habe ich gedacht, Alter, die Leute werden noch nie wieder eine Uhr kaufen. Also, oder, übertrieben gesagt, aber da waren einfach ganz andere Sachen wichtig. Man konnte nicht mehr in die Stadt gehen und es war einfach total crazy. Und was ist passiert? Nach 2-3 Monaten hat sich die Sache wieder normalisiert, weil der Mensch die Eigenschaft hat, sich an bestimmte Dinge anzupassen. Und man vergisst das Ganze. Das heißt, als der Krieg ausgebrochen ist und es losgegangen ist, war es auf jeden Fall im Hinterkopf von jedem. So mehr und mehr, je mehr Zeit vergeht, desto normal wird es damit wird man mehr und mehr leben. Natürlich, aktuell ist es so, wenn man die News sich anschaut, man hat ja jeden Tag irgendwie gefühlt andere News. Ja, es kommt immer was Schlimmeres und noch schlimmer und so weiter. Aber es wird auch da zu einer Ruhephase reinkommen. Also diese Zyklen, wenn man es ganz nüchtern betrachtet, kommen immer wieder vor. Aber eine Sache ist sehr, sehr wichtig. Ihr müsst euch mit dem Thema auseinandersetzen. Das heißt, wenn ihr einfach blind drauf loskauft oder sonst irgendwas, ist ja immer die Frage, was ihr machen wollt, dann ist es schwierig. Aber man kann auch heute noch immer gute Sachen machen.
Offers.
All right, so let's go. Let me offer some stuff real quick.
One thing before, sorry to interrupt you,
No
but
problem.
no, one thing. I notice your inventory is lower than it normally is, and that's because you are being careful in the marketplace right now. Is that right?
Yes, definitely. So I'm really not speculating. I'm not buying watches really per se right now. I'm doing my best just to find out what my customers are looking for, and then acquire the watch that they want to acquire, and just broker the deal.
I'll attest to that.
It's a lot easier. Makes it a lot easier.
He's done it for me too, so yeah, good guy. Okay, what have we got?
All right, so let me just show some watches that I think I've got some pretty good deals on. Here's a little white gold Lang & Son.
Pretty watch.
That's 14.5.
White gold, right?
Yep.
Oh.
Here's a Rose Jaeger alarm.
So let's talk about the name. Is it Jaeger or Jaeger?
I think we've had this conversation.
I know. I don't know the answer.
I'm sure you're right.
I don't know if I am or I'm not, but anytime I say Jaeger, which is what I call them too, everybody shouts at me. So
most Americans call it Jaeger. 15,000.
And the retail on that would be what?
Close to 30. Here's another Jaeger World Time. This is 12,000. There's a beautiful IWC moon phase.
White gold or steel?
Hand wind. This is in stainless steel.
Nicht schlecht.
For $75, I love this watch personally.
It's a beautiful dial.
I love
Yeah,
that.
actually, I like that.
Beautiful
I
dial.
was thinking about wearing
Chic.
that watch. That's very nice. Pretty cool Panerai ceramic for 11,000.
So it's ceramic as opposed to.
Yeah, that's actually ceramic.
Oh, I didn't even know they made one of those.
Mm-hmm. And then nice again. Another rose gold Panerai. This is called the 389, I believe. This is 20,000.
What is the retail of that watch?
I think it's 30, but I could be wrong. But I think it's right around 30. This is the ultra thin.
Oh wow.
That's a pretty watch, isn't it?
cool.
Cool.
Finissimo. Yeah, these are
Let me
very.
see that
These
one,
are actually
please.
very popular right now.
That's interesting because from the side there, through the lens, it looked like an AP. Like it looked like the one you were wearing.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
weird
it's
look. Like
all
the
chic.
square. It's square, but it's also.
back of
whoa,
it.
Nice.
that's cool.
That really is cool. And this is new, right? At least it looks
Flip
new.
her over. Let's
Is
see
it
the
new?
other side.
It's let's call it next to new. But again, that's the trend. Thin.
Elegante,
Yeah.
This is what people
elegante
want.
Uhr. Schick.
Yeah, the opposite of an offshore.
Right. It's 14,000.
Actually, yeah. Hold this up, Michael, in comparison.
hold it.
You got it. Just so we can see where the trends have gone.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Oh,
The
Wahnsinn.
base plate is nearly as thick as the
Wahnsinn.
entire watch, right? This
Oben das
base
Glas
plate.
ist so dick.
Wow.
Krass.
Also a nice watch. Cool.
And
Let me give that back to you.
a little Chopard for 7,000. Solid gold Chopard.
That looks like a Cartier bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doesn't it?
like the tonneau shape. Exactly right.
Pretty watch. And that's 7,000?
Yeah.
Was hat Marc eigentlich für einen Schulabschluss? Gar keinen. Gar keinen. Ich habe damals die Schule nicht fertig gemacht.
Solid gold.
Or $14.99 on Amazon with diamonds. Did you ever see? Actually, I bet you that video would make you vomit. We did a video on these like Amazon cheapy
Ich habe studiert, also Medienkommunikation und Journalismus habe ich studiert an einer Fachhochschule.
watches, and we found like a Cartier Big
I-
Bang.
oh, they
or-
were so
well,
bad.
No, not Big
Actually,
Bang,
that's not
Cartier
fair.
Santos.
They were-
I did watch that
They
video.
were, some of them were decent,
You
right?
should start wearing those in Beverly Hills.
I'd be scared. If I'm going to get shot for something, I'll get shot for a real one, right?
There's a two-tone root beer.
Oh, that's nice.
And this is
All
in
right,
your
so-
bargain
sorry,
basement?
No, it's not bargain bin.
Oh, okay. I
This,
was
is,
getting
this is an
excited.
example, though, of a watch that's come down. So these were pushing a little over $30,000 for this watch. This watch we can now sell for, I think, right around $25,500.
That's a big difference on a
Wow.
watch at that price,
Yeah,
right?
And it's
and on a Rolex
And
as
that's,
well.
that's a brand new watch. It's not used.
What is the list on one of these? Probably got to be, what, 18, 19?
I think it's a little bit less. I think it's around 15 or 16. But yeah,
Is it? That's a pretty watch,
That is
right?
pretty much. You
And
have
these
one of
have
those,
come
don't you?
No.
Davon haben wir auch eine Full Stickered, sehr, sehr coole Uhr. Also, die Full Stickered, nur weil sie Full Stickered ist, sonst ist es nicht mein Favorit.
I have a gold one.
Oh, that's right.
Old
Yeah,
gold
yeah.
one.
Here, Batman's came down a little bit. These were 21, 22 for the older Batman reference.
Which is more desirable, the Batgirl with the Jubilee bracelet or the Oyster?
I think the girls are more desirable.
And there's a price difference?
About $2,000 difference. 18.5.
This is 18.5. That's the cheapest I've heard of one of these
Yeah.
going for.
I'm-
Quite honestly, I
I'm
mean,
shocked.
I thought it would
Yeah.
be
They've come down.
in the 20s.
Even things like this have come down about 10%.
Really?
So nothing's crashing. It's a dip,
Right.
a blip.
But will it stop or will it continue? In your humble opinion.
What we'll do, Seth, we'll do two different versions, and then I'll cut between the two on YouTube. So that you're always
It's like that I
right.
can be right. I think
Look, we had a crystal ball.
I think technically speaking, the market's going to continue to go down a little bit. It's not going to crash, and then it's going to stabilize. The war's going to end, and things are going to pick up to where it used to be. But I think we still have a little bit more.
Coming down before it
I think so.
stabilizes.
I think so.
Spannende Phase wird sein, wann man wieder in den Markt reinkommt. Also ich kann nur sagen, gerade bei Daytona-Modellen, das ist immer ein guter Indikator, hat sich nichts getan. Also jetzt vom Preis nach unten. Daher, ich bin mal gespannt, wie viel Zeit vergehen muss. Wir haben jetzt Juli. Also ich schätze mal, wann ist der richtige Zeitpunkt, um einzusteigen? Hälfte des Jahres ist rum. Wenn man das nur wüsste.
But there's not much more it can go down when you're talking about just like stainless steel, generic sport model Rolexes. I mean,
Ich muss nochmal
if
nach
you want to
Dubai
buy this watch,
fliegen, wie es da drüben aussieht. Ich hatte so ein paar Signale bekommen, dass da der Normalhandel losgegangen ist, wieder weitergegangen ist. Müssen wir mal abchecken.
if you're looking to buy yourself a stainless steel Rolex, just buy it at today's prices. What are you going to save yourself? $1,000 at the most.
These are how much?
13.5 for the 40 millimeter.
That's all this is now?
Yeah, but the 41 millimeter is the one that's about 16.5.
Right.
For
But
brand.
without a date, it's much cheaper.
Yeah, it's whatever, $3,000 less, something
Yeah.
like that.
Well, this has been
$2,000 less.
enlightening. And let's see if you're right with your predictions.
Yeah, let's
right?
see. If we go back to my videos from 3 years ago where we said best investment watches, we're talking about the Hulk
Right.
at the
right.
time for
Yes.
$12,000.
Yes.
That is still a $28,000 to $30,000 watch.
Isn't that something?
So for that one, I was right.
But I still think,
And Daytona is at 20 grand. We're right.
but I still think that watches are always going to be a good investment, because even when they go down, over time it catches itself up and they will continue to have value.
Right.
Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. And at the end of the day, if you don't want to sell your watch and you're still holding it, then you haven't lost anything.
Exactly.
It's still an asset in
the
your
other
collection.
the other thing is, if you want one of these and you want it and you can afford it, it really doesn't matter what you pay for it, because you're paying for something you're going to wear and enjoy.
Right.
So anyway, well, Seth, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
As always.
Gutes Video, was wir daraus mitnehmen sollten, ist, dass man aufpassen soll, was man kauft. Und wenn man das Richtige kauft, auch in so einer Zeit wie heute, passiert nichts im Preis. Aber natürlich bei Hype-Produkten kommt es darauf an, für was man sich entscheidet. Aber bei uns war es ein gutes Video.